In the book about the Apollo mission, that's who we were. That was our story. Because he had shown that he was such an inventor, the Cleveland Clinic and Case Western Reserve in Cleveland hired him out from Cleveland to help them design the first artificial heart. He was creating things almost up until the day he died, actually. I remember saying to myself when I knew that he was dying, I cannot do this by myself. I need my kids. Well, I found out I had to do it by myself, whether I liked it or not. It was really difficult. That. So.
In the very beginning, a lot of anger, a lot of people being upset, fear of the unknown. Nobody knew what was going to happen.
I think this pandemic really showcased how easy it is for people to say, well, let's just make seniors deal with the struggle of this and we're going to go about our daily life. People with knowledge, experts, I'm not saying me, but just experts in the field, leading age, other organizations weren't at the table when these decisions were being made. These seniors haven't seen their loved ones face to face, 6 feet apart, whatever, for a year.
My son drives up from Detroit, but that's a long ways to go just for a visit through a glass. I have 4 great-grandchildren that I'm not watching grow up. They can talk on the phone, but I don't think they remember me.
It's been a long time. I prefer to be outside, be able to go, or them to come in. I wanted to see my kids before I go. I think it's horrid that they don't. People, that's what they live for.
Having every resident in their room contained to their room, and when they would come out, you have to redirect them back to their room. They don't know why it was happening or what's going on. They couldn't see their families, so it was really heartbreaking, honestly. So I really felt for them. It made me, I would go home and cry just because I felt so bad that they're not able to do anything or see their family except through a window, through a piece of glass. So
my mom is a very energetic 92-year-old woman. She sold real estate, very out there person, very extrovert. She had her own tour company, which she had bus trips all around the United States. She has lived by herself independently for the last 20 years, even though she's had suffered a stroke.
Where it's so easy to take away choice from older adults, as if they are no longer human beings. The quality of life has diminished during COVID, really because the lack of access to visitation. The people that we went into quarantine with are not the same people that are here today because of the decline. It's impacted everybody, staff and residents, and it's been very hard.
And when it's your husband or your wife on the other side of a virtual screen, it's always gonna fall short. It's good, but it's just not good enough to get a hug or to be able to have an affectionate moment with your spouse.
My dad actually moved to assisted living just right before COVID, so almost exactly a year ago today. My mom actually has been at the care center also for about the last year. She was at a different facility before that. And my parents have been married for 65 years. In fact, they had their anniversary last August, so that was the last time that they saw each other. And so he feels like he's in prison, and the biggest issue that he has just is that he can't see her.
Depression, which is always, a concern in long-term care, just that not being in their kind of normal life. People feeling isolated away from family members. We've seen both cognitive decline and physical decline. The things, people staying in their room. We had people who were walking at the beginning of COVID and they are completely wheelchair bound now. That was, pretty common.
Some, with levels of dementia, it's hard to conceptualize a virtual screen. They want to see behind the virtual screen because they wonder if their family member is on the other side.
One of our residents whose family would come up here every week, it's kind of like she started to forget who they were. So when they did come up to see her through the window, she wouldn't even remember that that was her son. And she would cry and, she wouldn't even remember some of the staff sometimes when at the beginning of this, she was very independent, did a lot of things on her own, knew everybody, was always in a good mood, but you could definitely see a change and it was really sad.
It's been a long road, for her. And I like to share these pictures because my mom was so excited, exuberant, and then this was her birthday last year at this time, and then this year, that was a picture of her this year. So you can just see it in her eyes that she has just gone downhill.
It has impacted staff because these are people that we love. We care for them daily. We spend more time here than we spend with our families at home. And it's hard to see people that were able to put on their own clothes. Last January, they were able to remember your name when they saw you. Now they're like, where am I? Who are you? Where's my family? When are they coming?
They've kept our family at window visits to protect us, which I understand. Wish was different, but I understand it because you can't get a hug and a kiss through a window.
I realize when you get to be a certain age, maybe you're not respected as much with your voice because you're older. Hey, you must be senile. You must not be in your right mind. But a lot of these people are, and they're hurting.
I have a little more freedom to go out and do stuff, but they still don't. They can go out for a doctor's appointment and come back. That's it.
Resident rates are huge. They need to be heard, whether it's a pandemic or not.
I'm not going to say they're at the end of life, meaning that they're in active dying, but, many do have chronic health conditions and they know that, they do have limited time, and to not be able to spend that with family has just been devastating.
My dad would be willing to take absolutely a certain level of risk in order to be able to spend time with my mom.
Once we had access to rapid testing, personally, I feel like we could have done a lot more sooner.
I wrote a letter to the governor a few weeks ago, and that's what I talked about, that it sure seems like we're able to do this in so many other areas that we should be able to have the protocols for safety in place.
When they figured out that even though things were opening up for some of the world, it didn't open up for them.
You get mad at yourself, then you get mad at that one, then you get mad at another one, and pretty soon you're mad lady. I don't want to be that way.
In fact, she was really down, and she just told me, she says, I wish I could die, or I wish I could go to sleep and never wake up. And they just, because they've tied us down at the rest homes.
There were some really horrible things I heard of. Well, Darwinism, fine, if it's survival of the fittest, they're not the fittest. But we put them in this environment because that's the only way we knew how to take care of them as a nation. This is the model we use, but then we didn't find a way to protect them, not just from the virus, but from the other negative effects of isolation and neglect, and we didn't ask them. The intent is good. The intent is keep people safe. I've never questioned that that was people's goal. I just think maybe we hurt people a little bit along the way by not listening more.